I got a treat for you.
Oh boy.
It's a game that's not in the Unity engine. This is called Darkest Nightmare.
Okay. That's actually doesn't sound that scary. If the nightmare is really dark, then I can't see what's scaring me.
Well, maybe it's like black humor kind of Darkest Nightmare.
I don't get that.
Hi. Welcome to the very first demo of the game, The Darkest Nightmare. You challenged your friends that you could spend one night in this house, which is haunted by its past owners. You found some paranormal activities going on in the house. Now you have to explore and find what is the problem with the house. Don't we know what the problem with the house is?
There's paranormal activities.
We've defined it, but
several.
All the best.
All the best. Love, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
Loading.
Okay, we're loading paranormal.
And you can see that
activities.
the thing is loading.
Yep.
We got loading and loading. Mm-hmm. You know who's a big load? Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I love Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Have you seen it?
The question is, have I not seen? Okay, yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it. I mean, it is
multiple times. I've seen the director's cut. It's 3.5 hours long.
You have to watch the director's cut of Paul Blart
Mall Cop. Yeah, you do because they cut out a lot of stuff that's crucial to the character development of Paul Blart Mall Cop.
This screen is still loading.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, sorry.
See, because Paul Blart Mall Cop was a very complex character, but due to time constraints, they had to cut out a lot for the general audience.
Well, let's just go over the ways that he was a complex character. One,
mall cop.
He's a mall cop. Mm-hmm. In this day and age how many malls around us alone have closed within the last couple of years?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can think of one.
Yeah.
But that's pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah.
All those people out of jobs. So he's...
Oh, wait, hold... Texture streaming pool. Okay, I guess that's good.
So he's,
okay, I guess it's still loading.
He's, he's earning money in a currency that no longer exists at this job. He might as well be a blacksmith, and they're rolling out Model Ts.
Yeah. He's like the last of his breed, like a dying generation. So he's a very complex character, that Paul Blart, who is the mall cop.
But at the same time, his job is to protect the mall, which is dying. Can you imagine... the dichotomy of that is so brilliant. The idea, can you imagine being a Secret Service agent assigned to a president who's on their deathbed? That's weird. What are you protecting him from? Yeah. Obviously, you couldn't save him from cancer. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you couldn't save him from that.
Yeah, but preach on, brother.
Yeah.
Paul Blart Mall Cop, I tell my children a lot of the time all the things that they do wrong. But I tell them the one thing that they could do right is to be like Paul Blart.
Yeah.
Mall
You'd never
Cop.
give up. You dedicate yourself to something no matter how stupid it is.
Mm-hmm. And Paul Blart Mall Cop, remember the love scene? Remember when they're in the passion pit?
Who could forget it?
Yeah, and Linda Blair shows up. Remember that? Yeah, the cameo.
Was that a cameo? She was in the movie the whole time. Remember how she was always in the background just a little bit?
Well, that was CG, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, because I saw you listen to the director's commentary. For example, did you know that the fart sound effects, there weren't actually live farts?
It still hasn't loaded.
Yeah, I know. It's 80.
So they were real sound effects.
It wasn't a real fart. They didn't say, "Hey, Paul Blart, mall cop, I need you to fart now."
Hey, wait. They didn't say, "Hey, Paul Blart, it's time to Paul Blart fart."
No, they didn't say that.
They didn't say that.
No, they just said, we're going to dub this in post. Yeah. Is what they said. And Paul Blart was fine with that, being the mall cop, because, as a mall cop, you've got many responsibilities. For example, there's an Orange Julius sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes.
Does the Orange Julius, it's only open sometimes? Or you mean sometimes it's something else?
No, sometimes malls don't have an Orange Julius. But
if he works at the mall...
He'll know if it has an Orange Julius.
I'm just saying, if he works at... How many malls does he work at? Because I've seen the movie more times than anybody else, except for you.
Yeah. Well, then they set it up for a sequel where he goes, the last line in the director's cut is, "Look like I'm going to be looking for a new mall." You remember that? And then... It wasn't real, by the way.
That wasn't real. That was added in post. I just assumed Kevin James farts all the time.
Well, he does, but
it's not a good...
You can't mic it right.
That's right. It's a Foley thing, because what we think a good fart sounds like isn't what a fart sounds like.
Yeah,
it's like somebody just taking a bunch of Jell-O and steak and their fist and punching it as hard as they can. That's how you get a good fart sound.
Most people don't know about this, but Paul Blart, Kevin James's asshole is just... It's damaged. from his activities.
So he farts so much that now it doesn't even make a sound.
No, it makes a sound, but it's a very disturbing sound.
Like
and the director...
Like somebody gasping at the sight of a dead baby?
It's kind of like a horse inhaling a very limited amount of oxygen, if you can...
So a horse with asthma?
Yeah.
Speaking of asthma, this game has not
Yeah,
loaded.
we're still waiting for the texture streaming pool. It'll be here soon. So yeah, Paul Blart, they set it up for the sequel. He's got his Segway.
Sure.
But in this one, he's going to have a fidget spinner.
That was my favorite part about Paul Blart was the Segways.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's
how they married the scenes,
Segway.
right? How they married the scenes together. Like a lot of times you see movies, they do like a star wipe.
Yeah,
or
a Blart wipe.
This was a Blart wipe. Every time he left the scene, he took the scene with him on his Segway. It was brilliant, and I don't think most people pick that up because they're too busy trying to find the comedy and the humor in it, and they're not realizing that this is in a very Grapes of Wrath type of way.
Yes.
An examination of modern America.
Not to rag on the American populace, but most people can't appreciate Paul Blart Mall Cop for what it is. And that's a reflection of the human spirit on a Segway, protecting the Orange Julius, which is an analogy for the American spirit.
So wait, the Orange Julius is there?
The Orange Julius.
Because I never saw the Orange Julius in Paul Blart.
Well, you didn't see the director's cut because there's 30 minutes.
You think I haven't seen the director's cut?
There's a 30-minute still shot of the Orange Julius with no dialogue, just complete silence.
I've seen the director's cut. I haven't seen this.
It's on there. Maybe you need to flip the disc over or something. I have seen it. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you've... I'll wait for you. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you've played it, but Paul Blart VR, have you on the PlayStation 4?
Yeah. Well, you have to have Google glasses for it. But.
Yeah, you have to have Google glasses and PlayStation 4 VR, one for each eye, because the processing power to show you Kevin James in virtual reality is astronomical.
I see what you did there.
What?
Astronomical, because Paul Blart also obviously is a physicist. Studying.
Well, yeah.
He's an astronomer, really, but...
He's a thinking man's man, If you think of a man... Is this still loading? Yeah, it's still loading. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you think of a man, and that man happens to be Kevin James, you're thinking of Kevin James. Because he is everything that Kevin James is.
Now,
I
could tell you 10 things about Paul Blart.
I could listen to 10 things about Paul Blart. I could listen to 10, 100 things about Paul Blart, and I'm all ears, so hit me up.
But I want to hear your favorite 10 things about Paul Blart.
Okay. First of all, the obvious first one would be Paul Blart.
Yes.
Himself.
Just the name.
Yeah.
What a perfect name. That is a name chosen off of the tree of knowledge.
When I first heard that name, I gotta admit, I giggled.
Yeah. But
several days straight.
You also thought, because you knew who was behind this movie.
You say Paul Blart, and you're like, ha, the humor is funny. But then you start thinking, Mall Cop. How does this all go together?
Sure.
Okay, so that's the second thing. Second thing is
number 2.
The Segway. Because that's kind of a humorous take. Is this still? Yeah, it's
still loading. Yeah.
Okay, it's a humorous take on, because Paul Blart, I'm going to be honest, he's not that fit.
No. So he gets around on the Segway.
Yeah, when he really needs the exercise.
The thing about it is, though, is him being on the Segway. And I know, we could discuss this all day, but
yeah, I'm aiming for that.
Let's do that. The fact that he's on the Segway, I think, is just such a perfect analogy for where the American dream is right now. Aren't we all on a Segway? Aren't we all afraid to move under our own momentum, so we have to be carried somewhere on our own.
On a Segway.
The choices that we make are the momentum, but we're afraid to make them, i.e. walk. So we have to get on something that moves us, and whether that's a career, whether that's your family, whether that's your church, whether that's your Segway, whether that's your rascal scooter, whether that's your VW bus,
used Segway,
whether that's a used Segway, whether that's a roller coaster, whether that's
with the Segway on it,
whether that's a BMW,
not safe, by the way,
right? Not safe at all.
No.
Whether that's a Carnival cruise ship, whether that's a plane, whether that's a train, whether that's an automobile.
John Candy Rip in peace. He's dead. Kevin James is alive and very much living it
Some
up.
people have said, wouldn't John Candy have been a better choice?
Yeah, well,
I was just thinking of my favorite scene from Paul Blart Mall Cop.
oh, I do that a lot too. What?
Where he's got the Cinnabon and he just looks into the camera. And this is in the director's cut. You have to see it. He just looks in the camera and he's eating the Cinnabon. And he keeps going, I wish I was dead.
Yeah.
While he's eating the Cinnabon.
Yeah, because I can relate to that. I too wish I had a Cinnabon.
Now, some people have said that they think John Candy would have been a better choice for Paul Blart Mall Cop, despite the fact that he'd been dead for 20 years when the movie was made.
Yeah, and the posters clearly say Kevin James.
Kevin James.
So if John Candy shows up, you're like, this is not the product I bought.
But John Candy was their first choice. But they couldn't.
John Candy.
As John Candy.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But he was a terrible Kevin James.
But he was not.
That's why he didn't get the part.
Right. John Candy could not look into a camera at this point in his career. Don't get me wrong. An amazing actor. But at this point in his career, riding a Segway, eating Cinnabon, protecting Orange Julius, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And fart sounds? No, I don't see it at this point in his career. 20 years ago, sure. When he was still alive, yes. Now, not so much.
Also, how's he going to cash a check written to Kevin James?
This is still not loaded. Anyway, yes.
If I were to go to a bank, I got a check here. It says it's written out Kevin James for $12 million. And it says on the memo part, thanks for being Paul Blart Mall Cop. They wouldn't cash that for me.
They probably wouldn't.
They'd probably call some sort of authority. I would probably get in trouble. They would call like a real cop.
Do you think if you were John...
Paul Blart real cop.
But what if you were John Candy? You think you'd get away with it?
I'd be dead. I wouldn't have a care in the world because...
Believe me, I know people who work in a bank. It's not stopping the dead from walking into the bank and cashing checks.
I don't follow
that.
You.
Well, apparently the dead have risen from the earth, and they are now cashing their. It's a real problem as far as Social Security is concerned because once somebody dies.
Theft.
Well, no, it's not identity theft. These are the people.
Humanity theft.
No.
Theft.
It's their money, but they're coming back from the dead. See, this is something they never get into in The Walking Dead, and I'm so glad that they covered it in Paul Blart Mall Cop, the director's cut, is that when the dead come back, their first concern isn't going to be eating brains or anything like that. It's going to be cashing those sweet, sweet, lucrative Social Security checks, which causes a huge problem for our government because
we're already.
How much money do we save when somebody dies and we have to stop paying their Social Security? Well, they come back from the dead and then we have to start paying it again. It is a hassle.
Well, and what about life insurance? I mean, they get killed again.
Right.
It's
already paid out.
Yeah.
So is that fraud? Do they have to pay the money back?
Yeah.
Yeah, they need the money.
You come back from the grave, that's legal.
Right.
If you had life insurance.
If you had life insurance.
If you didn't have insurance, then you're okay. But the thing about Paul Blart Mall Cop is...
Yeah, sorry, we got a little bit off subject.
They intentionally never established whether or not he has life insurance. And that's, like one of the director's trademarks is not establishing if a protagonist has life insurance.
That's an interesting choice. I'm sure the studios... And he's had to fight them on this, and like how to get Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow in the first movie, that Disney thought it was a terrible idea, and the director had to fight to get that on there. I mean, such a bold movie.
Willy Wonka,
yeah. Yeah, such a bold choice. So this is his choice. I'm sure the studios are always like, dude, this is 2017. We need to establish that this motherfucker has life insurance. Otherwise, nobody's gonna... This still hasn't loaded!
No.
Oh my God! Okay, Otherwise, nobody's going to buy that this is a real person.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a touch of humanity because if they have life insurance, they can die. And you know that Paul Blart Mall Cop is not an immortal being who will survive long after the earth has perished.
But isn't he?
Well,
I mean, the idea of Paul Blart has been with us since the Greeks. Let's be honest.
Yes, yeah. Paul Blart does have a very long and colorful mythology.
I mean, some people say it was the Carthaginians, but no, it was the Greeks.
He was the original Jesus. The original Bible, the first one, whenever it would say Jesus, it would actually say Paul Blart Mall Cop. But King James changed all that because he's like, this movie's not going to come out for, 2,000 years or something. Nobody knows who this guy is. I'm changing it to Jesus.
Even though he knew who Paul Blart was.
Well, he knew the movie.
Well, that's bullshit.
That's pre-production. It takes a while for it to, get these things through the studios.
He could have at least shortened it to like PBMC.
Well, back then they had a very short attention span. Especially when it came to movies because they didn't exist. So they would spend literally no time watching them.
No time.
Yeah. So it's basically King James's fault that Paul Blart Mall Cop isn't in the Bible.
So we've only gotten to your two favorite things about Paul Blart Mall Cop. What's the third one?
Okay, third thing, his charisma.
Oh.
He can woo pretty much any pretty lady out there because
with just a wink, with a smile,
yeah, and he's
with
got
the
a
flick
sunny,
of the sweat off of his brow.
a sunny disposition is what he's known for.
Yeah.
Amongst his many other quality traits. But Paul Blart he's not just a man's man, he's a ladies' man and also animals' man.
You mean animals are sexually attracted to him?
No, but he's a man and animals are involved with him. He could pet a dog.
And the dog, are you saying the dog would be sexually attracted to Paul Blart?
No, there is no sexual relationship between Paul Blart, Mall Cop, and a dog. I'm saying he could look at a dog and he would become the dog's man.
What about a cat?
He could look at a cat.
Look, I've got some deviant art stuff that I'm working on, okay? So
with Sonic and Tails is pregnant.
But this is with Paul Blart and cats.
Yeah,
Do you
Paul
think
Blart,
would it be believable
Tails
for Paul Blart to fuck a cat?
We talking Garfield? Heathcliff?
No.
I'd like to see Paul Blart.
I'm talking about a real
Heathcliff.
cat, not a cartoon, not some Jim Davis bullshit.
Heathcliff was a cool cat. He had a gang.
Maybe Paul Blart would fuck one of the junkyard cats.
Yeah. That's total Paul Blartian Mall Copy in nature.
Even though I believe the junkyard cats were not canon.
Well, then you're getting into the whole U.S. Acres thing.
That wasn't either. So no, I just want to know, do you think that it would be believable for Paul
No, but
Blart,
I encourage you
to
follow your dream.
All right, so the fourth thing.
Okay, the fourth thing is the relationship that he had with his children.
Paul Blart?
Mall Cop, yes. He was a son's father. And if he had a daughter, a father of a daughter.
Yeah.
He was everything to everybody. God bless his soul. And the mall that he protected. But the most exciting thing, and this is going to be numbers 5 through, how many more?
10.
10, yeah. 5 through 10, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. I got to see an exclusive sneak preview of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was the best
I haven't seen it yet
ever.
because I wasn't really a fan of the first movie.
Well, you weren't invited.
But I didn't really like the first movie anyway.
Because you didn't get it.
Yeah. I got it. I just, I just think there's much better movies.
Texture streaming.
It's still not, oh my God. I'm going to, you know what? You sit here for a minute. I'm going to go take a shit. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well,
wait, do you want me to shit in your toilet?
I would ideally want you to shit nowhere, but if you have to choose a place, the toilet would be good.
Does it have to be your toilet?
It'd be somebody else's toilet. I don't care.
This is a big area. I could.
No.
All right. I'm just gonna do in this corner.
No, that's my corner where I shit.
That explains.
It's my shitting corner.
So much. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm just gonna sit here and think about Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I decided.
What?
I decided not to take a shit.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, I'll just, I'll hold on to it because I figure if Paul Blart
Mall Cop.
on the long shifts that he has to work as, what does he do for a living again? What was his job?
Juggalo?
I forgot. It's he's a
chef.
He's a chef.
Gordon Ramsay.
Right.
Paul Blart, Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. Mm-hmm. If he had to hold
your food is shit, mate.
If he had to hold it in, then I can hold it in until this fucking game loads.
This texture streaming pool, we're almost full of textures, okay? Yeah. Well, I think that it's safe for you to take a shit because I don't think this pool will ever be full.
Yeah?
Unless if Paul Blart Mall Cop were to jump in and displace copious amounts of water.
Oh, man.
Due to his tremendous girth.
Now, that's my favorite scene in Paul Blart Mall Cop. When he jumps into the people.
He jumps into people.
He does, he
assaults them.
Because there's, you could call it assault. I would say it's protecting the people from themselves by taking their lives.
Yes.
He kills them all to protect them from themselves because they were just going to end up killing themselves, and Paul Blart jumped on them.
We live to die. I mean, and Paul Blart, if he's Mall Cop, if he's here to take you out of your misery earlier, God bless his mess.
God bless him.
More power to him.
God bless his mess.
I
tell you, this is my favorite game we played.
We beat this game, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what it was about. I think it was
Asthma, the game.
Paul Blart, Asthma.
It was breathtaking.
Wow.
I apologize to everybody out there with ears who heard that. Heard me say that joke.
You know what else is funny?
Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Yes.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
Fuck you. That's the end of that.